Well, I think most of you have already met Donna. Here I was going to be introducing, but you guys have been chatting. So Donna and I have known each other for a long time.
Yes.
And Quantum Leap,
Yes.
Donna said, "Oh, I'm doing disc."
Oh yeah. Love, love, love. It's
Yeah,
my
yeah.
passion. Can you tell?
Yeah, very, very passionate about
Yeah.
everything, life
Yeah.
as well as teaching.
Yes.
So I said, "Hey, you want to come do it
Yeah.
for us?" And she said, "Sure."
Yeah.
And the rest is history. Well, actually, it's the present. Yeah. So I will lead the team.
Great.
Yes.
Great,
And,
great, great, great.
A little intro, and I'll
Yes.
leave you guys
Okay.
in Donna's capable hands.
Yay. Like the Louis, very cute, loving it. It's on the floor, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
just paint it nice, very nice. We notice all the purses. It's just the way I am.
Thank you.
Anyway, I just want to begin by saying thank you. We'll have to open that door in just a minute or we'll get too hot in here.
Yeah.
You know what, again, thanks for spending a little bit of time with me. I care very much that you get something out of this for spending some time with me. I don't know who is familiar with this thing called the disc profile. Who's brand new to this? Oh, yay, at least half of you.
Well, I've heard it.
That's great. So I can kind of start, not necessarily right at the beginning, but at a point where, you know, we can kind of all work together on it. So here's my goal with you today. Just first of all, to have you walk away having that superb understanding of what this disc profiling thing is all about, how you can use it in your life. And I'm not talking just your work life, I'm talking your life, right? What's the purpose? What's the design of this thing called the disc profile? It's designed to take your communications with every other human being to a better level. That's what it's all about. Who's in favor of doing that? Because yeah, right, absolutely. That's my goal for you today, is to have a greater understanding of what this disc profile is all about and see how you can use it in your life. And just by way of example, two things I want to tell you. I have done this so many times. I get invited all over Canada to go and do this, and I always go because I love to see the different market centers. Been around KW since we started back in 2012 in Burlington. Everyone familiar with Burlington? Oakville? We have like 2 market centers. Hi, welcome.
Hi, sorry.
And I was the team leader. Is our team leader here? Yes. Oh, that's you! There we go, fellow TL. So I was the TL in Burlington when we started, and it was Keller who? Keller who, right? Nobody knew who Keller Williams was in our area. And now we have 180 associates. Like this company is on freaking fire, just to be honest with you. And now we've opened another market center in Oakville. So when I was the TL all those years, I'm gonna be honest with you why I do this, because, you know, start with why. It's so interesting because as the TL, agents used to come to me, and when the door would close, they'd sit down and they would say, you know, Keller Williams has got all this fabulous models and systems training, and they want me to follow models, and they want me to be very purposeful and do all this stuff. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I struggle with certain things in my life. And I'm like, tell me more. And they would say, I really struggle with my communication. I don't find that I always get along with everyone. There's tension, da 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 da. So I went looking for a way in the Keller Williams University to help people with getting the basics, the foundations down pat. And this is what I found, the disc profile. Now, you know, I have a background at IBM where I was well trained in corporate training long before real estate, and 18 years in real estate. You name it, it's happened to me. You know, there's nothing you can throw at me that surprises me anymore. But with all that background, this is what I landed on. And it has become such a passion. So I actually went and got certified in it. So now I'm more of a coach than anything else. But man, this stuff is powerful. And so when I would walk through the disc profile with a lot of people, what would happen is they would say, awesome. You know, now it's taken my ability to communicate to a much higher level. And I don't know if anyone's familiar in this room with the Keller Williams concept of E to P. What's E to P? Somebody tell me what E to P is. Entrepreneurial to P.
Professional.
Purposeful.
Purposeful.
Great,
Yeah.
good. What does that mean?
Yes.
Here's what I think. Every one of you sitting in this room today, you're pretty good at communicating, or you wouldn't have got yourself into real estate. True? Right? But here's the thing. We all have things that we do by our nature. We're pretty good at some of this stuff. what I hope for you today is that by understanding the concepts of the disc is that you can take you to a higher level, to a very purposeful way of communicating. Does that make sense? That's my goal for you for today, all right? And I'm just gonna make a statement here that's so freaking important. If you don't listen to anything else I say all day, this is really important. Once we go through the disc profile, you're gonna start to get a really good sense of who you are, personality-wise, in the disc profile. And once you kind of get who you are, which is half of our goal today, is for you to get a really good handle on who you are, that's where you stop. And I mean that when I say that it's not about you anymore. It's about who you're talking to. It's about who you're communicating with. Because ultimately, if you can communicate with someone, whoever, your kids, your significant others, your clients, in a way that they need to be communicated with based on who they are, not who you are and the way you want to talk to them, that's a recipe for success. And that is where I believe repeat and referral business comes from. You can advertise all you want, but if you have a client, I've had this happen to me so many times, and it's the absolute A+ report card in real estate. 7 years later, hey Donna Beach, we just had 3 kids, this house doesn't work for us anymore, gotta move. So I'm not the best at keeping in touch. Why did they come back to me? Why? Because somehow there was a connection. And somehow there was them, way back then, 7 years ago, saying, she gets me. She gets me. And people that, you know, you think get you, will find you. Don't we all do that? If you've gone into a store and you've gotten phenomenal sales, you know, ability given to you, or all of us just on a general scale, when you feel like somebody gets you, do you find them again? Sure you do. So that's what today's all about, is get a real hardcore understanding of who you are through the disc, and that's where you stop and your communication at a higher level kicks in. Does that make sense? Okay, so if you didn't get a chance to do, just take one of these and pass them around, okay? If you didn't, I'm just giving you something to take away today, make a ton of notes on, because you'll want to take some notes. I'm going to do some incredible drawings on this flip chart. Okay, that was Donna. Okay.
I don't want to take your mouse.
Thank you. All right. So what I'm passing around here is just something you can take away today and put on your fridge or whatever you want to do. Just take some notes, okay? Make sense so far? Yep. Anybody got any questions? Who's part of KW and who's not? You're not, okay, and?
I'm not.
Okay,
Janice.
great, okay, great. Right.
Left a message on it.
Have I done? Yes.
Welcome.
Yes.
It is perfect.
Yes. Landmarks, yes. Yes. You know, here's the question that just came up. Have you done landmark? I have done it all. I'm a self-improvement guru, which is a brilliant thing to do, because aren't we all at Keller Williams? What is Keller Williams? I mean, no one knows better than the team leader who has to be all of that for everyone. Oh, there's a chair up here. Sit up here. Oh, that's two there. Great, thank you. Wow, what a full room. Did everybody get one of these sheets? Is there enough? Are we short? Do we have sheets? Great. Wow. Okay. All right, so we're good. So where was I? Totally forgot. Where was I? Landmark. Thank you. What's Keller Williams? Keller Williams is a self-improvement. We call KW the coaching and training company that just happens to be in the business of real estate. So if you're in life to always be a better you, man, you're in the right company. Would you agree? I mean, there's no end to the training, let's be honest. And I, for one, have soaked it up because, wow, you know, for your $55 a month or what we pay out in Burlington, it's great, right? And you know that as the TL, you know the value. It's amazing. Amazing. Don't get me started on KW. Anyways, okay, so here's my first thing to do. I'm going to start by spending some time, because so many people just told me that they were new to this whole idea. When you go home for dinner tonight, I want you to do 2 things. I want you to be the person that's the expert around the dinner table talking about what the disc profile is all about and analyzing your family. That's it, right? Right? Actually, without a lie, there's a gal that I had in a session a couple of months ago, and she has a 5 and a 7-year-old daughter. And she said to me, wow, this just makes me so happy because it's all about kids. She said, you know what, I'm starting to look differently at my 5 and 7-year-old kid. I'm realizing that there is a personality in them already, and I have to be careful the way I treat those kids. Not the way I necessarily default to training them. I gotta teach them and treat them the way they are, so they grow up, into the, amazing little girls that they're meant to be. And one more story before I get going, which is really cool. Everybody know who Diana Kokoska is?
Yes.
No. Might have to move over one more, gals.
Sure.
Yeah, we won't make you walk through all of here to get to this seat. You can just sit at the end. How does that sound?
Who's Diana Kokoska?
Diana Kokoska, anybody heard of this? The course called Bold?
Yeah.
She created it. She is one of Gary Keller's most fabulous hires. She is the head of the coaching and training of all Keller Williams all around the world. She weighs about 90 pounds and she's a powerhouse, this woman. Unbelievably intelligent. So fast forward to one day when her little 6-year-old granddaughter is in grade 1. And that little girl comes home and says, Grandma, somebody just called me bossy. And she was really upset by it because she was taking charge. And she was, taking charge in the grade 1 class, and it really upset her. So you have to picture Diana Kokoska, if you know who I'm talking about. She just marches right into the little grade 1 class the next day. And she goes, class, I'd like to address you all. She goes, my little granddaughter is not bossy. She's a leader. Wow, she's a leader. And I'm going to talk today about NLP. If you're familiar with NLP, it's the whole idea of neuro-linguistic programming. It's another learning curve, is choose your words wisely that you speak to people, because different personality styles resonate with certain words that are said to them and not others. Does that make sense? Can anybody relate to this? Wouldn't you like to be more purposeful in the words that you choose to use, especially with clients? And because we're all realtors in here, everything I talk about is going to be related to real estate. All right? All right, sound good? Okay, so let's start at the beginning. And I am going to start with, let's just talk about these different personality styles, okay? Let's start with the D, just to give you a clear-cut understanding of this whole disc profile. So there's a lot of words that you could use to describe a D personality style. And by the way, as we go through this in great detail, you're going to start to recognize someone in your life that you know that is this. Could be the person you're sitting beside, could be the person you're married to, could be the client you're going to see tonight. No names, please. But I always see smiles on people's faces and they're going, oh my God, why did I marry that person? Seriously. That's what it boils down to. And P.S., you're going to see this in here too, that opposites hugely attract to each other. And we didn't know this stuff when we were 19 and 21 years old, right? You're getting all this education and you're like, what happened there? So I always say for anyone who's single in the room, next person you go out with, give them a disc profile. And they'll get back in 48 hours.
Yeah,
so
cool. My daughter would do that.
In fact, I'm a storyteller by trade, and I'll tell you, there was a gal in my market center who got into this so deeply that she actually broke up with her boyfriend. We're not a match. She said, we're not a match and I'm going to struggle, She actually, and ultimately, because she knows this so well, she really lives the language of the disc, she did meet the man of her dreams. And I'm not making this stuff up. This is a big deal. So you get the foundational quality of it, correct? Okay, so let's go. Okay, so this whole idea of the D personality style, let's have some fun with this. I'm going to just, and I get really messy when I do this, but I'm going to say dominant, okay? There's a lot of different words, and here's where we get interactive, because I can see some smiles on some faces already, where you're going, I know somebody. And what I'm looking for is to start listing as many personality characteristics of this person who is a D personality style. I'm going to describe them, and you feel free to, add on, because I love this. This is great. There's no end to the words. This would be somebody who is very direct. Have you ever been around somebody who is like, cut to the chase, They don't really care if they leave an emotional graveyard behind them. They just say what's on their mind. Anybody know someone like that? Why are you coughing on me?
Nobody's
Sudden
rude.
cough, sudden cough, so funny. So that's somebody who's very direct. Another characteristic of somebody who is a very dominant is somebody who's very much a leader. If you were on a desert island, 10 people, this person with this D personality style would step up as the leader. They'd be that person that would say, okay, you go looking for water, you go looking for wood, you go looking for leaves, we gotta make beds or blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I'm saying? This person can't help but emerge as a leader, okay? They take charge, and that's another thing. They are always in charge. You can feel free to record all kinds of this stuff, and feel free to add on anything as you start to recognize either it's you I'm talking about or somebody you know. Somebody you know. What else? What else about someone who's a very dominant D personality style? Scary?
She's the least D.
Yes. Thank you. Very decisive. I can tell, and another thing I hope for you for today is this. I love, love, love it when people in a market center beyond today live the language of the DISC and start to predict. I can tell within 5 minutes of meeting somebody what their DISC profile is. And I want you to be able to do that in the future because that's brilliant with your clients. Brilliant. So when somebody's a very high D, and there's all kinds of scales, right? They're doing this. Okay, got it. Yeah, don't finish your sentence. I got it. Just move on. You ever been around someone like that? Do you not want to step on their foot sometimes and go, like, back off, really? You're just a little too intense. There's another word. Very intense, right?
Or aggressive.
Thank you. Love it. Very aggressive. I don't think I spelled that right, but you get it. Yeah, I did. Okay, so very aggressive, right? So think about that personality style. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else?
I find that they interrupt you a little bit.
Right. Yes. And that's a really important point. They do interrupt you. They don't necessarily have the respect to let you finish your thought. How annoying is that?
But you want to get to the point.
Okay, thank you. This is what I'm getting at. This is what I'm getting at. And I gotta tell you another story, but these stories are all for the purpose of learning. The storytelling is the new learning. So I have this lovely son. He's 30 years old. OMG. How'd I ever get this kid? I do not know, because I am the opposite of him. He is a very high D, and this is the way Ryan communicates with his mother. Okay, all right, is there a point to this story? This is what he's doing. This is my child. He does. Well, he used to. He used to. Keyword, used to. So is there a point to this? And then his favorite line is, do you have some research to back that up? That, you know, are you showing me a story? I mean, I'm only interested in the point form of what you say, not the story. Do you have some research to back that up? So, years ago, does anybody know anyone like that? You're all going, oh dear God. So here's the thing, years ago, we had trouble getting along, I'll be honest, but then we both dug deep into this DISC profiling. And at the end of the day, what do you think happened? It took the communication from what we were both doing quite entrepreneurial to very purposeful. Number one, a good respect for who each other is. And I realize now, understanding who he is, it takes the personal, call it what you want, hurt out of the relationship because I understand something really significant. He's just being him. He's not trying to be a whatever. He's just being himself, and he can't help being himself. And what's been the growth for me is backing the bus up to take responsibility that it's not his job to not be himself. It's up to me to treat him in a way he needs to be treated, to make that a great relationship. Wow. Did everybody hear that? Does that make sense? So it's all of our responsibilities to realize who's in front of us. And if you walk away with that today, that makes me super happy. Making sense so far? Yeah. So there's a story that really drives that home. So what else? What else about this person? Like, let's talk about, you know, we could go on, and whenever you think of something that describes a D just a little bit more, feel free to shout it out. But digging a little bit deeper, some of the shortcomings.
I can leave the room now if you want.
What are, I don't mean shortcomings, but rather as opposed to challenges. What are some of the challenges of a D personality style? Yeah.
Maybe because they cut you off, they don't always get all the details, like, I don't know
Yes.
how to explain that, but if you're, so you're talking about talking to a client and you're trying to explain, say you're trying to have them fill out an agreement of purchase and sale, they're like, yeah, where do I sign, It's like, no, you should know what you're signing.
Yes, yes. I love that you said that because we run across that a lot, don't
All
we?
the time.
Right? All the time. And so you gotta do your job, right? How do you treat this person so that they will diffuse any kind of, come on, let's get on with it, and allow you to do your job? That's one of the reasons we're here today.
Oh, I was gonna say, I always just say, like, I know you wanna get through this, but it's really important that I explain it to you
Yes.
and you understand what you're signing, because it's a legal document, so.
Yeah. So I'm gonna jump down to here where I always talk about the NLP, which is that neuro-linguistic programming, which is what are the right words to use with certain personality styles. And I can tell you from experience and research that some of the words that you would use with a D personality style that really resonate is this: I've got your back. Try that on sometime. I've got your back. So picture having a conversation with a D, and by saying to them when they interrupt you and, just want to get to the point, just say, look, I've got your back on this. I know you trust me. I have to do my job, so be patient with me. I'll be quick, but I want to make sure that you're covered. I want to make sure that you're never taken advantage of. I want to make sure that you're looked after. Which takes me to another point that I'm going to keep on coming back to. And this is important for every personality style. Everybody in this world, every human being wants to be understood. Every human being wants to be heard. None of us are any different. Some of us are better at that than others. We all want to be really good at it. And ultimately, we are all looking to be made to feel safe. Remember that word. I hear it over and over and over again. That we all, think about yourself. We all want to feel safe. And the word that actually comes before safe is trust. We are all looking to trust. And ultimately, when you do learn to trust, you feel safe. Think about it. Think about yourself. We're all looking for that. My question to all of us today is, are you being that for the person that you're talking to? Especially your clients. Because that's when it's going to get you the repeat and referral business. So, again, coming back to some of the words that you would use, the words are very important. And how you communicate with them is very important. This person, because of their need for you to get to the point, do you write them long texts and long emails? No. No. It's the worst thing you can do. We have somebody in our Burlington Market Center who communicates with the OP. And honestly, I watch her when she opens the email, and she already knows because she knows who it's from, and she'll go, ugh. And he always writes to her in long, like 2-page paragraphs when he could get a point across in probably 3-point form, like a PowerPoint presentation. I'm serious. And she just goes, ugh. Penny. She is such a high D, and she just says, I wish he understood me to the point where he knew how to communicate with me, because it would make our interactions so much better. So when you're communicating with a D, think about how you communicate with them. Number one, do you call them or do you text them? What do you think?
Text them.
Absolutely. I would say text. And how many pages is it going to be? Oh, not even one.
One word.
It's just going to be point form. It's just going to be very, very short, right? And even when these people move into a house, are you going to send the welcome cards to the neighborhood? Would you?
No.
Let's just talk realtor language for a minute. Would you?
No.
No. Why? Will that make them feel that you had their back, or will that make them feel incredibly unsafe because you didn't get them if you do that, right? Because they're that person that the garage door goes up, they go in, the door comes down, and they don't really want to talk to the neighbors necessarily. They have their own world that's really busy and lots of things to do with it. Yeah.
So would a shortcoming be that they're not neighborly?
They
They're
can.
not like very
They-
friendly, like they
they
don't
can.
chit chat, they don't like small talk.
They like people to approach them and show a lot of respect. Here's what I've noticed about a lot of Ds, very intelligent people, very bright people, but very choosy who they hang around with, right? Have you ever noticed if you've been around a D that they can write you off or be your best advocate in a very short period of time, right? They're very decisive. We mentioned the word decisive here, very quick. A lot of team leaders in real estate are Ds because, oh, there's another word I want to add in. They're kind of impulsive, right? And they make very quick decisions. When I say decisive, yes, but quick decisions. And a lot of times, very quick decisions need to be made by leadership, and the D is really, really good at that. But again, coming back to some of their shortcomings, one of the things that I was looking for was, some people say that they're bad listeners. Would you agree?
Yeah.
They get a reputation as being a not great listener. Is that true?
No.
Well, no,
sorry.
No. Oh, you're
They get
saying
the
that
reputation is true.
they have a reputation as that. However, when you think about it, if you were the master of the right way to communicate with them, there's no bad communication because you're quick, to the point, and that's all it takes.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. Here's
They're
another.
impatient.
They're very, oh, thank you, another word, thank you, where can I put this? What the heck? Yeah, let's put it in here. What did you say?
Impatient.
Impatient. And that's where this comes from, right? Very impatient. Is that a shortcoming? It is, but it can also be a strength. You know, I've heard it said sometimes, and this is where the team lead comes in, is that if you want to get something done, you need to have a D in the group. That's true. If you want someone to make decisions and get action done, you need a D in the group. Interesting? It's true. So there's shortcomings, but there's also strengths. So many strengths. You need Ds around, absolutely. What else? Is anybody having anyone come to mind that they want to share? Because this is important. The sharing is everything. The sharing is the way we all learn. The other shortcomings that I was thinking of was they can be somewhat, did I say insensitive? Did I put that in there? That's the big word that I'm looking for, is insensitive.
Because I was just gonna say judgmental too, so it's
Yes.
along the same lines.
Oh, thank you. Don't get me started on that. Yes. Who said that?
I did.
Yeah. Wow. Very judgmental. Where the heck is that coming from? Why is that D personality style very judgmental?
Because they feel very strong with themselves and they have high expectations for people who are around them, and then
Yes.
they fall short and they end up
Yes.
judging people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So know that you're walking into that when you are in the presence of a D. Like I said, highly in charge, highly intelligent people that the buck often stops with them. And they're really hard on themselves and they're really hard on each other and the people around them. Not to be horrible, just to bring that person up. Unfortunately, a lot of times it doesn't feel like that. It feels like a lot of criticism. So my question to you is, can you adjust to the morph, chameleon, whatever you want to call it, to be at the level that you need to be to work with someone who's a D? Yeah.
I was gonna ask, do you talk about like body language and the way people act as opposed to just your personality? Because like I would imagine a dominant person is not very like warm and cuddly. They don't like hugging.
Yes.
They're
So-
not like very affectionate.
Okay,
They're
great,
very much
yeah.
like they're not huggers. Like they're the kind of people that are like and like walk away.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because we were joking in one class, okay, what would the hug look like for each of these personalities?
like distance
And
pats, like yeah.
You've got it.
They're
So
the
we'll have to play with
handshakers,
that at
like
the
kind
end.
of
We'll do the disc hugs, okay, sound good? It's true. And yes, the body language is usually a dead giveaway. Would you agree?
Mhm.
Right? It's just in the way someone shakes your hand. I'll tell you where I can tell the personality styles when I have a buyer coming in for a consultation. And I say to them, bring your wish list of what you're looking for in a home with you. I can tell who they are from their wish list. Oh my God, I want neighbors. I can't wait to be part of the PTA in the school. I can't wait, blah, blah, blah. You know, I want 6 acres around me. I don't want to talk to anyone. They're telling you everything you need to know to work with them. Isn't that interesting?
That's interesting.
If you're paying attention, right? Interesting. Is this resonating with everyone?
Yeah.
Are we getting anywhere? Is this good? So feel free to jump in, because everybody knows somebody now. Deep personality style, yeah.
Just thinking about handshakes, which personality style is it that is the lingerer? That over handshakes are too long, it makes you feel uncomfortable.
Tell you what, let's go through all of these
Okay.
and then we'll decide, because I already know, but I want you guys to figure it out, because that's half the fun. So, when we're talking about what you were just saying, like, what personality style is this? Is this a warm or a cooler?
Cool.
Definitely
Cold.
cool.
Not even
Cold,
cool,
yeah,
cold.
cool bordering on cold, to be honest, all right? And is this a fast-moving or a slower personality style? Yeah, keep that in mind, okay? That's important, all right? So, there's some things here, but what I really want to dig into from all my studying of psychology over the years, which is really important. Did you get a sheet?
No.
Hmm.
You can have mine, you can share.
Okay. Okay, is here's what I really want to talk about. And this is really, 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 really key. I know I say everything is really key. What I want to dig into is the psyche of these different personality styles. And this is deep, deep, deep in the research of the DISC profile. What do you think the biggest fear is? And why do I even want to mention what the biggest fear is of all these different personality styles? Why do you think that's even important?
It's their driving force.
Exactly. Everyone has a biggest fear. We all have it. And each personality style has a biggest fear that's theirs. And if you're going to call it win over, call it make this person feel safe, have them trust you, what you want to do is protect and not make happen what their biggest fear is. And man, does this ever apply to real estate. So the research says being taken advantage of. You might want to make a note of that somewhere. Being taken advantage of is the biggest fear in their whole psyche. So as a realtor, you want to protect that. That's our job, is to take people through the most incredibly complicated and stressful event of their life and make it as smooth and as easy as possible. So, and you know, this personality style, I really believe that all of these personality styles are locked into us when we're 6, 7 years old. It goes way, way back in all of us. You know, on the playground in grade 3, you know, somebody could have stolen this kid's marbles and walked away at recess, and this person said, that is never going to happen to me again. I am never going to be taken advantage of again. And these personality characteristics are what emerge. There's always something, right, that has you become the personality style that you are. So keep in mind that take advantage. So what does it look like to take advantage of a D? You know, don't waste their time. Don't present information that's absolutely useless to them. The big thing is time waster. You ever notice a D is always quick moving, lots to do, a lot on the go? If you're too chatty, if you're talking about too many things that don't interest them, you can always tell by the look on their face, then you're wasting their time. You're taking advantage of them. And you may not feel it, but they feel it. The body language will tell you. Right? Can anybody relate to this? Who's got some clients that are Ds? Yeah, okay. So this is when it really drives the point home, right? The key here is, honestly, if you, in the way that you do business with them, when you first meet them, when you're first getting to know them, if you build their trust and you ultimately make them feel safe, they're your biggest advocate. These are the people that will get on Yelp and say good things about you, right? Seriously. So let's say tonight that you have a client who is a D, and you're going to be showing them some houses. And let's say you're not a D. Like, let's just say for a minute. So how would you show up to that appointment? What's a really wise thing to do?
Prepared.
Yeah.
I always send a schedule in advance, so
Do
they
you?
know like exactly where they're gonna be at what time, and it's already planned out so that we don't waste our time. And I either offer to drive them to save time.
Great. Great.
Only with people like that though, because there's some people that like to have their own car.
That's true.
But if I know that they like to move fast, then I'm like, do you wanna come in my car and I can bring you back?
Especially in Toronto, you're probably
Yeah.
better off when it comes to finding.
Because they get frustrated trying to find parking and then they don't like the fact that you might have taken the spot.
And that's another thing. There are personality styles that can put up with frustration easier than others and be very forgiving. This is not one of them.
Yeah.
Not. But you get that, right? So let's say you've got a house to show tonight. The very first thing that I would do is be there before they are. Would you agree?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've always got I did this last night. I had the lockbox undone. I'm standing in the doorway like this, and then when they pull up, it's like, welcome. And they love that. Don't be late. Are they late?
Yes.
Seriously. Yeah, and that's cool because they can do that because they're really important. You know, they're the dominant driver, places to go, people to see, et cetera, et cetera. But you can't be late because what happens if you are late? Instantly they're judging you, right? You mentioned judgmental. They're judging you and they've instantly lost what? Respect. And that is everything to them. They need to respect you, right? That's really everything. So here's another thing. If you're showing a house to a D, tonight, you know, what have you got to have with you? You mentioned having a schedule ahead of time. Excellent idea, okay? What else? What else? You got to have done some of your research and have it ready. Last time this house sold, it sold for X in 2001. And here's some of the upgrades that have been done. I've already done some checking into it, right? Because I know you saved it as a favorite, blah, 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 blah. Oh, and by the way, I know you mentioned 5 houses. I've got it down to 4 because I did some research on one of them and it just really doesn't fit the criteria, you know? What did I just say to that person? I value your time. And ultimately, what does that make that person say? She gets me. Oh my God, she gets me. And now I feel, and now I can trust. It's so simple. It's so simple. But if you're going through your life treating people the way you just want to treat them, kind of, you know, the way you would, it's not necessarily a recipe for success, right? And how is everybody resonating with a significant other in their life or your kids? Is some of this resonating with that? Yes? For those of you that haven't had children yet, this is training. This is what parentage is all about. Okay, so what else would be important when you're showing them a house? The data. These people are very data driven. These are numbers people, right? And the other thing that's important about a dominant person is that they are, I meant to say this earlier, they're great delegators. Know that. If you are going to be around a D personality style, you are going to get delegated to, no matter what personality style. Can you relate to this?
A little bit.
Oh my gosh. Yes, they're really awesome at barking out orders. So are you ready for that? Because maybe you don't want to be delegated to, so you got to be ready, right? That's really, really, really important. D's, that personality style is they're visionaries. They have all kinds of fabulous ideas. They're really bright. Want to open the door? Are you a little hot? Yeah, open the door. Stand there and swing it back and forth.
That might be like
Great. And you're going to get delegated to, but at the end of the day, they're not trying to be nasty people. That's just who they are. The question is, do you get them? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So is anybody recognizing, and by the way, as I go through all of these personality styles, every one of us has every one of these in us. We're all smoothies. Like, nobody gets off that easy. We're all smoothies. We all have the DISC, but what you're going to see if you go through the Tony Robbins disc or if you go through whatever, 2 of these will be dominant in each person. 2 rise to the top in terms of that's who you are. The other 2 won't be as important. So watch out for that in yourself, whether you've done the profile or not. And in the Tony Robbins one, it's the natural strengths. There's so many different disc profiles. There's colors, there's, how many are there? There's so many. There's so many different names. It doesn't matter. It's all based on the same Carl Jung psychology, which is everyone wants to be understood. That's where it all comes from. Make sense? Anybody want to add on anything else about the D?
I was
Yeah.
gonna say they probably like if you look at the home inspection in advance and they'll, you know, if there's anything important for each of the
Absolutely.
showings.
Yeah, absolutely. Any kind of something that will make them feel less taken advantage
Because they
of.
probably don't look at the home inspection at all.
Right.
If they want you to, and you just tell them everything.
Right, and here's another question. Is somebody who's a D really big on detail? Great question. Yeah.
So here's my follow-up question to that one.
Yes,
Are we wasting our time looking at home inspections for a house that we don't think they're gonna get? Would you not wait to share that information with them to find out if they're serious about their property?
I personally would wait, because it's money spent, right?
Well, no, if there's a pre-listed inspection, but if you're gonna show them 7 homes that day, you're not gonna read through 7 reports before you go. You're gonna wait, pick your top 3, I'll get that information to you, I'll sum it up.
Yeah, what I would do is find out if someone's interested first. Then you go back and read that inspection, and you report back to them. They are not gonna read it. Why?
Because they're not time for it.
They don't have time, and they're not interested. Report to me, that's a D. That's a D,
Tell me
right?
what's important.
Tell me what, thank you. You guys have got this.
Highlights.
Highlights, give me the newsreel,
Bottom
right?
line it, yeah.
Give me the bottom line, I love it, you guys get this, I love it. So my question is, are you that for the Ds that you're around? Do you wanna be that? Because hey, we all have our own businesses, you can hire and fire people all you want. Anybody ever fired a client? You have that option, you're an entrepreneur, you can do that. I would say, don't fire clients, figure them out. Or you know how you hear the term buyers are liars? Not true. Buyers are not liars. Buyers change their mind. Hey, when I'm looking at clothes, man, I'm changing my mind every 5 minutes, right? I am not lying. I'm changing my mind. You don't think that happens with houses? It really irritates me when I hear agents say buyers are liars. Maybe you didn't get to know who they really were. Maybe you didn't get to know what they really want. And it's consult time. I think salesperson should be taken right off of cards, and it should be consultant, because that's what you are. You pick their brain, you ask them questions, right? And you figure out what they are and who they are, and they're allowed to change their mind, so that just really irritates me. So does that make sense, the whole idea of being taken advantage of? Anybody want to add anything else on before I go on to I? Anything else? What's on your mind about this D personality style? Who's married to one of these people? There you go. There you go.
My husband's married to me.
There you go. You know what? Here's what I would say. This is not an easy personality style to be around. Let's be honest. It's very challenging, right? They make you be your best, and that's not a bad thing, right? You got to step it up around that person, which is it's actually a blessing, right? Okay, so let's talk about the I. Oh my God, let's talk about I. I'm going to change the color to something super cute because that's what eyes are, super cute. Okay, so let's talk about I. What does this stand for? What's an I personality style? There's so many different names. I'm going to say interpersonal.
Social butterfly?
Social. Keyword, social. What else? What else? What else? What else? Yeah. You know, a lot of times this does stand for influencer. And what does that mean? What's an influencer? What does that mean to you?
Manipulative.
Really? Interesting.
No, Melanie. Oh, I thought it was Sandy.
Isn't that interesting? Somebody, you know, it's funny you should say that, because somebody said to me in one of the classes a while ago, so if I get to know this all really well, can I use it to manipulate? And I'm like, sure you can. Sure, absolutely.
They were high on.
I mean, it seems to take us down a negative bunny trail, right?
I thought it was my inside voice, actually.
Yeah, it kind of was, but it's inside here, so it's all good. This is a free zone, right? But call it manipulation, call it mirror matching, whatever. Are you not doing the relationship a favor by mirror and matching each other and having a bit of insight? So call it what you want. I know the word manipulation gets.
Well, I didn't mean manipulation,
No, I know.
I
It
meant
comes
like more
across
like
more negative, but it's not.
working, like, I don't know how to describe it.
Working more on a purposeful level.
I guess
think that's
so,
what you
yeah,
mean,
like, you know,
right?
you are manipulating the environment a bit, because you don't really want to hang out with this dominant person, you know, or this, whatever, so you're working the room, kind of.
I think influence has a positive connotation.
Yeah.
Yes,
Manipulative
influence.
is not.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Yeah, but I get exactly where you're coming from. And by the way,
I know
these
from my
people,
forum.
I keep coming back to the Ds, and I'll come back to all of them as we go. These people really want to be the influencers of the world. I mean, we all do, don't get us wrong. But these people, they really want to leave the world in a different state than when they got there. That's, you know, if you ask Ds, they are driven to do that, right? So there's a lot of manipulation there too, in a good way. So let's come back to the eye. The eye. Everybody loves the eye. Why?
Outgoing.
Right, thank you very much. So outgoing, very positive. What else?
Passionate.
Yes, very passionate. I always say life of the party. If you're the life of the party, if you have a party, you want to invite this person. Why? They're just super fun to be around, right? They are just super fun to be around. A lot of real estate agents are eyes, right? That's what draws you into real estate, is the fact that you just want to be around people and you want to be helping people. These people, as much as they want to influence, they want to help. A lot of eyes come into real estate and say that they want to help. I know a lot of Ds that come into real estate, you know what they say? They say, I don't like people. I've heard them. At our big KW events, there are some amazing team leaders in this company. And they're incredibly high Ds and they sit there on the stage. Gary Keller will say something like, so, what brought you into real estate? Well, it isn't people. I don't like people. I'm like, okay. It's so amazing what you hear. And I love the way he pulls people together and gets them talking. But what they're interested in is building a business, right? They're very data-driven and business-oriented and very, very fast-moving and very unemotional. That's another word I meant to put in here. Let me come back to that. You could call this a shortcoming. Where am I? What did I say?
So in turn, eyes are emotional?
Absolutely. So now we're the opposite of that.
Are we emotional or are we excitable?
Both. Yes. Are you claiming that you're an eye? Excitable. I love that word. Excitable. So true.
I'm like the entire eyes.
Are you? Top. Yeah, high five, me too.
98%.
What's
yours, Emma? And a lot of team leaders are, because you have to be on all the time.
You're 98%.
Okay.
Don't come to the table. Okay, what else? Who's a really good friend of an eye, or is an eye and wants to share some personality
They are
characteristics?
Jokers?
Yes, funny,
I'm
yes.
just saying what
Okay, that's a really good one, I love this. Why are eyes jokers? There's a real deep.
Because they're insecure.
Because it's how they win friends and influence people. And it's how they kill stress,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
It's a stress killer.
sarcastic too.
So thank you for mentioning that, that's key. That's how the eyes break the stress. So if you have a client that you're with and all of a sudden they go, right? They're stressed. Notice, because it's true. It's kind of a big deal.
They're touchers. They need physical all
Warm
the
and
time.
fuzzy, yes. We're definitely gonna do disc hugs after this.
Okay, cool. Anyone want to make out?
Touchy feely. Yeah, well, you know what, so. Okay, so, no, but I dare you, the next bar you go to, I want you to spend some time analyzing the people at the bar. Seriously, it's just an education. So we talked about the D being
Our next party.
We talked about the D being very cool, almost cold, and a fast-moving person. What is this person? Hot. They are very warm and fuzzy. Warm, fuzzy. And are they slow or fast-moving? Woohoo! They're the woohoo people. They're fast-moving. Right? We know who that is. All right. Any other characteristics you want to add on? What comes to mind? What comes to mind?
Persuasive.
Yes, very persuasive. Yes. And why are they persuasive? Why is that important, do you think? Why is it important to be persuasive?
So you can get your way.
It's really important to an eye to have an impact. I mean, it's important here too, in a different way. This person wants to win your soul over. This person wants your money. It's a business. It's a different place that they're coming from. Interesting? So these people are warm and fuzzy for the purpose of connecting. And that's the other word I was looking for, big connectors, right? Some of the most fabulous realtors are eyes, they're connectors, right? Okay, now let's talk about some of the shortcomings.
Disorganized?
Yes. Yes, so disorganized, what else? I'm gonna say short attention span, that's one of the biggest things. Short attention span. So when you're working with an eye as their realtor, how do you keep the attention? Because they have a short attention span. And the other thing that applies here is not a ton of attention to detail. I'm gonna say low attention to detail. What do you do to keep it that way, to keep it good? It's certainly not the same way you communicate with this person. What do you do?
Reach out to them daily, always keep in touch with them.
In fact, bring me to a good point. The worst thing that you can ever do with an I who is a client is just be attached to their hip, as we all are, during the transaction and not contact them after, right? Don't ditch an I, because what are they gonna say? She was only with me during the transaction, and it was a befriending for the purpose of the transaction and wasn't authentic, and therefore, what? I don't feel safe, and therefore I can't trust you, and that's when you don't get referred. True?
Yeah.
True, true, true. So keep that in mind. How do you communicate with somebody who is an I? Do you text them and keep it really short?
Telephone calls.
Absolutely. I want to have people pick up the phone and call me. I don't care if technology is fabulous, and yes, there's a time for texting, but it's not 99% of the time, right? So call, don't text, right? What else? I think the best thing you can do for a night is a video text. What? Oh, absolutely.
Like FaceTime?
What do you think? You don't like that idea? Yeah. Oh my God, I love it.
I don't like that at all.
I do love it. There's nothing like
No.
receiving from my agent before I was a realtor, a little something that she would have left at my front door, and I'm not home, so she texts me, she goes, "Hey Beach, I just popped by, I left you this little blah, 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 at the front door, just want to say hello, no other reason for stopping by." I love her, let's be honest. Love it, love it, love it. Would this person love it? Sure, D's like things given to them. And if I was gonna do a video text to this person, number one, it wouldn't be more than about what? How many seconds?
10.
Right?
5.
Short and sweet. Hey, John,
I didn't even think to
just
do it,
popped
too.
by with something a little cute for you, was passing by, you were on my mind. Catch up with you later, done.
The dominant's probably like voice notes, like very short voice notes, so they don't even have to read it, they can just press play and hear it.
Right, voice notes, great idea. Great idea. Are we getting some ideas here?
Yeah.
Is this good? Is this helpful? Awesome. Okay,
Does the dominant want you to keep in touch with them after?
great question. What do you think?
No.
No, but maybe.
If
I
you're
don't know.
sending them like
If
annual
you do it
sales
right
tax,
way.
how much the house improved, something quite else.
That's
Yeah,
right.
or like their neighbor's house sold, send it to them,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
It's all coming back to the same thing. If you're gonna keep in touch, give me something other than hello. Give me some data. Give me something that matters. Give me some information.
Inform me.
Inform me. Keep me informed,
Yeah.
right? What's this person want?
They want you to, whatever their kid's birthday, pop in for a coffee.
Right,
Sean.
connect. You know, the best thing that you can do, oh my God, how many times have I shown homes to an eye and their little kids were with them? You know, it's so fun to make the little kids feel so, you know, if you're gonna be here, 8-year-old, you're holding my stuff so I can undo the lockbox, and here, hold my pen, here's my keys, you're my new assistant, and what does mother stand back and do? Yeah, pretty much. Does it work? Yes. Don't have the kids standing there feeling like they're not involved. Get them involved. Make it a super fun event. That's another thing here, is it make it fun. Right? I always say to people, when I sense that they're an I, here's what's gonna happen in this transaction. You are gonna learn a lot, especially with first-time buyers. This is in the consultation before we even start. You're gonna learn a lot. You're gonna have a lot of fun along the way. And you're gonna find the house you love, because we're gonna keep looking until I know that you have found the house you love. Think that makes them feel good? Sure. Do you think that makes them feel safe in my care? Sure. Do you think they're gonna trust me? Sure. And that's when people sit with you by the time you get to the agreement of purchase and sales stage and go, I trust you, just do whatever, right? That's your report card, by the way. Interesting? It's all part and parcel of it. And you know when you're connecting with the right people, you know. No one really has to tell you. What we're trying to do today is that KW thing of taking you from E to B, because again, this is very foundational stuff, right? Okay, so it's funny, when a lot of the I's come to us as agents, you know, KW is very, very interested in helping teams build, if you want to build a team. So I do a lot of this with teams, to help teams work together, or to help someone who's a budding agent who is an I to hire somebody. Because if they don't have a lot of attention to detail, what's the right thing to do? hire somebody that you're not. So if you have an attention span that's really short, you need to hire someone who is not you, right? That's what Bill Gates did. He built his fortune on hire what you're not, right? Don't hire who you feel really good about, hire what you're not. He made a business out of that. So that's really important. I can detect an eye, and I always say to them, you're awesome when you're out doing your one thing, which is talking to people. But you can't let the backside slide. You have to hire someone quickly. So if you're in that situation and you're budding, you know what the MREA book says. If you're reading the MREA book, by the time you're getting to 20 to 24 transactions, you're out of control because you're pouring so much energy into people, right? That you need the back end taken care of. Hire, hire, hire. But KW's got this whole how do you hire? How do you have them on 90 days probation? Then what do you do with them? They just make it so, so, so easy. So it's that leverage series. Amazing stuff. Amazing. Okay, so what else? What else can we talk about the eye? What's really important? What's really important to them? And specifically, I'm talking about shortcomings. A little bit disorganized, a little bit of a short attention span. These are some of their challenges. I shouldn't say shortcomings. A little bit of low attention span. They make up for it in their ability to connect fabulous with people, right? So it's all good. There's nothing bad. It just is what it is, right? Anything else anybody want to mention?
I feel like they try to please a lot of people.
Yes, good one. People pleaser. Yep. Yep. Can be too much of a people pleaser. And so that takes me to the biggest fear. When we're talking about that biggest fear that's in every personality style, which is something we really want to pay attention of. What do you think? Yeah.
Being alone or not having attention.
Yeah, being on their own. Eyes don't love to be on their own because people are like oxygen to an eye. They need to be around people. But yeah, you're on the right track, not being alone. What's their biggest fear? The biggest
Down
fear?
people.
Letting people down for sure.
Not
That's a big
being
one.
Rejection.
Yeah, yeah, and rejection really, who said that? Thank you. Rejection really encompasses everything. They really don't want rejection. Because what does that turn into? Letting people down, right? And that's the biggest fear, right? So at the end of the day, they really don't want to be let down or let people down. So if you have a client that's an eye and you're showing them a house tonight, how are you going to handle that? You recognize that they're an eye. How are you going to handle that? How do you think you'd approach that situation? What do you think you'd do? There's only 2 guys in the room and they're really quiet. I should start picking on you. Just kidding, I wouldn't do
I
that.
think it would be good to kind of have them imagine how they would live there, like, you know, the parties in the backyard and how they would
True.
entertain and lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah. But these people love to talk. They're born talkers and they love to talk about what's important to them on a very social scale, right? So when you're going through a house, it sure wouldn't be hurting to say, oh my gosh, you know, look at this house with a pool. I can just see all the kids' parties you're going to throw here, right? If that's what, and then that gets them talking. Get them talking about the social aspect of it, right? Right? What else? Would you be late? Would these people be forgiving if you were a little bit late? What do you think?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, they would. I think that's something that you're going to do, but you know what? They're a little bit more on the forgiving side, unlike the D. What else would be important? The most important thing that I was saying earlier is keep your eye on the rejection, right? Keep your eye on the fact that don't ignore them. Don't ever ignore it. If there's a time when you haven't been in touch with an eye, pick up the phone between driving from point A to point B, know who your eyes are, and call and say, hey, you know what? I have no reason for calling you other than to say you were on my mind. See you later, have a great day. What's wrong with that? And social stuff. Oh my gosh, I just passed the park nearby where you live. There's a big thing going on there this weekend. Just wanted to share that with you. See you later. Wow, social stuff. Isn't that a great way to connect? Do the eyes love that? Sure. I mean, everybody loves that. What would the D do with that information?
Put it down your head and take the phone.
Won't answer.
That's great every day,
Won't
but.
answer.
Won't answer.
He or she.
Yeah, potentially. They might say thanks, they might roll their eyes, hit delete, whatever.
So probably screen your call.
Yeah.
And then just let it go to voicemail.
Right,
And then delete it before you listen to it.
right. Yeah, and that's assuming their phone is on, or they didn't give it to their assistant, right? So true. So true. How are we doing for time? There's no clock in here. How am I doing?
2:30.
Is it 6 o'clock yet? It's not 2:30.
Yeah.
Stop it. Okay, all right, all right. Stop it. Okay, is this making sense? Are we still getting something out of this? Is it helpful? Tell me something, so far, I'm more happy. Does this change the way you think that you might start doing a little bit of on-purpose talking to people? Is this, and I'll tell you, in our market center of 180 associates, we live the language of the disc. I will say to somebody, oh my gosh, there's the D in you, but I got your back on this, it's okay. They love that, they love it. When somebody, and let's talk about NLP, oh my God, somebody needed to remind me. NLP, I'm gonna do this in purple. What's the NLP language that would be great when you're talking to or communicating with an I?
Didn't you already say it?
Did I say it?
You're gonna learn a lot, you're gonna have a lot of fun, like.
Yep, that too.
Oh,
Yep,
okay.
that too. There's all kinds of great stuff. I just want to give you lots of repertoire. Here's one big one. You can do this. You can do this. You can do this. Yeah, you've got this. There's another one. You've got this. You hear that a lot, don't you? You've got this.
Instead of, I've got your back.
Yeah,
Which
it
is the total
resonates
opposite.
totally different.
Yeah.
It resonates. When somebody has faith in you and you're a high I, and they say to you, you can do this. Or well done. There's another one. Well done. You know, the I's love it. What does the D do when you say that? I know. Cringe. Don't tell me that. I already know that. Right? It's a different resonant. Right? It's true. It's true. Here's the thing. Play with this with your whomever and see how it affects them. Because it does. Trust me. I love it. Okay. Okay, let's talk about the S. Now the S is the highest portion of the population. The S's. The S's
Outside of the
are
highest in clients, right, not in real estate agents, I would say.
in realtors, yeah, in the population, actually in the general population. Steady, stable. And I'll tell you, if you get to know and understand any personality style, get to know the S really, really well. Because they're the biggest portion of the population, and these are the people that are the most sensitive. Thank you, that's my first word. Very sensitive people. You know that, right? Very sensitive people.
Yes, you're so sensitive.
So sensitive.
I already talked to you when you were drunk, you cried at me. I'm just in Florida right now.
Okay, now I have to bend over, oh my God. Okay, real team players. Real team players. And the other big thing that I love about an S is, you know what? They don't like to be alone. They love to be in groups. They love to be in groups. And here's intuitively what I can tell you about an S. Think about your life. When you have something that you need to talk to somebody about, you really don't want them to say anything, you don't want them to judge you, you want them to just be quiet and listen. Intuitively, think about it. You go looking for an S. Think about it, right? Do you go looking for a D?
No.
But, you know, it's interesting. If you need a decision made,
Yes.
and you need someone to be real hardline with you, you will, intuitively. But do it more on purpose, right? Interesting. And what do you do when you let's talk about the I. When do you intuitively go looking for an I?
Affirmation.
When you want to go for a glass of wine and talk about it, right? These people will sit you down in their office and say, I've got 3 minutes. It's true. It's true. And then here, these people say, okay, 8 o'clock, fine, let's go. We're going to talk this over. These people will say, just come and sit and have another one. Make you come to you. We're going to talk about this. It's true. It's true. They're a blessing. The S's are a blessing. All right? The other word that I was looking for, thank you for reminding me, is very non-judgmental. Now here's a really interesting point. Non-judgmental, big deal with S's, very non-judgmental. How many people do you know where opposites attract and an S is around a D? A lot. These people marry each other. before they completely understand what they got themselves into. Who adjusts more in the relationship? This person or this person?
Yes.
Oh, painfully, yes. Unless the S gets this at a very high level and works this. Okay, call it manipulative. Call it
To their advantage.
So, I'm not disagreeing with you. No, it's true. It's true. It's so true.
It's useful, I guess.
It's
understanding.
Understand. Okay,
Yeah,
like working it,
Yeah.
making it work for you.
Exactly. We all get what we're talking about here.
Okay.
But it is, and didn't I say that at the beginning? We all want to be understood. And if we all want to be understood, isn't it our job to be understanding of each other? Like if you be the person that you need to be understood.
We have to be all of these.
That's right. That's why I'm taking so much time on each one of them. Okay, so what else about an S? Here's my thing about an S. One of the biggest things that I notice that an S does is they hide their emotions. If you get nothing out of an S today, understand, somebody just said yes.
They are like that. I find them also a little passive aggressive.
Oh, define passive aggressive for me. What does that mean?
I'm thinking of a particular girl, she's a friend of mine, and she's very reluctant to say the words that are on her mind. She'll go all around the situation, she'll give you all different types of hints, but she's not direct with her language.
Correct. Why?
Because they're hiding how they really feel, because they're scared.
Right.
They're
And they
afraid
don't
to
wanna tell you.
offend or afraid to
Right.
offend
See
somebody.
how you can just keep backing the bus up? If an S feels that what they're about to say is going to piss somebody, sorry, did I say that?
You can say it.
It's
okay.
okay. I'm not swearing to BW because we're grown up like that.
Swearing.
But
Go
you
all
get
in, Donna, go all in.
it. So if they feel that they are going to change the group environment by speaking up, or in this case of a couple, if they are concerned about the reaction, because this is often a judgmental reaction, they just don't speak their mind. Interesting. So that's relationships, that's life, but now let's take that to real estate. These people often, they don't speak up, right? Can anybody relate to this? And so if I recognize an S and they're in the closing room for that first consultation and I recognize them as an S, here's what I say. Okay, here's the deal. When we go looking at houses, it really matters to me that you and whoever's going on title here come together. Look at the houses together. And I'm not happy unless I'm hearing all kinds of feedback from you. In other words, if you open the linen closet and you go, oh, good Lord, there's no way I can live with a linen closet that small. I want to know. You've got to tell me everything, right? You have to manage the expectations to get them to do that, all right? However, if I keep backing this bus up a step, they're only going to do that if what?
They feel
They feel safe.
If they feel safe with you. That's what we're all looking for, and if they trust you. Isn't that true?
Yep.
You have to create that environment. This is the logic of it.
This is totally like the husband and wife situation where the husband sends the wife out to go shopping until she finds something she likes, and then he'll come see it. The dominant will come see it. He doesn't want to go shopping, he doesn't want to deal with that, he wants his wife to find all the little things she likes that he doesn't give a shit about.
Ain't that? And how do you handle that? How do you feel about that?
Fine, it makes my life easier.
Yes. Yes, less baggage to carry on
Yeah,
every
if
time.
that's how
Let's
he
be
wants
honest.
to do it.
Less resistance.
Or
I
how she
like
wants
that.
to do it, who knows.
That's right. If they want to send one and then the big whatever D comes in at the last minute and helps make the decision, fun.
As long as they make themselves available.
And as long as they were kept informed along the way with the report when they didn't show up, so
Yeah.
they don't feel left out. These people are super important, right? They've got to be kept informed of everything. Yeah, so back to this S person. This hiding you're laughing. It's so true. It's so true. I just love all this stuff. Can you tell? I just love it. Okay, so.
When you start thinking about all the people in your life,
I know.
and then it's like you're laughing at all the situations because it's like, all right, now it's all starting to make sense. It's all
Then you
starting to
think,
come
oh, what do
together.
I do about it now?
Everything comes up. Yeah.
Too late,
Can't
now
go
back.
back. It's so true. It's so true. This is great foundational stuff. So here's the thing. In the market of a couple of years ago, these people don't like to be rushed. They don't love change. Change scares them. And so in that market of a couple of years ago, when there was 13, 14 offers on a property and they had to make a decision really fast, these people lost out. because they're like, don't make me make a decision that quickly. No, I'm going home to sleep on it. If you go home to sleep on it, you're done. One of those 14 offers will win this. Anybody live through that?
Yeah.
And the S's, sadly, lost out.
They'll have regret.
However, in an effort to back that bus up and not tick them off, you gotta set the expectation that, listen, I've worked with you for a while. I understand how this market is making you feel. It's really tough to make up a decision on the spot and go into competition on a property. I'm used to this stuff. I'm the independent, unemotional third party. You're full of emotion. Everyone is when they're buying a house. At the end of the day, I'm gonna warn you what's coming. This is gonna be what's expected of you. But here's my respect for you. This is the client I'm talking to. If you don't feel comfortable making a decision real fast, you tell me and we walk away, right? You go home and think about it, and maybe the person that does buy it that night will have buyer's remorse the next morning and call me, and you'll be ready to make a decision, and that will be your house. How did I just make that person feel?
A lot better.
100%. That's your job if you really want to connect with people, right? And they love it, right? But recognize this in an S. I can't tell you how many times, and this personality style, I just want to hug them, because not insecure, that's not the word that applies to them, but they're careful. I love people that are careful. You know, I love people that think things through. I like people that take the time to process a little bit. These people are very woohoo, off the cuff, impulse, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, just the thinking things through is kind of cool. You know as well as I do, you work with so many personality styles over the years, you know who you respect, and you know who you just roll your eyes with. And they're all good. They all have their challenges. So, yeah, keep in mind in that market, and here's the thing. We, as realtors, take people through the biggest thing in their life, which is buying this massive thing called real estate. You better be the personality that can be there for them and make them feel safe, because I think a lot of realtors get a bad name for doing the exact opposite of what's here. Would you agree? Mm-hmm. Would you agree? Like, I just feel like teaching this at your real estate board level, that you don't get your real estate license until you get this.
Yeah, the people that aren't gonna get it aren't gonna show up to that class.
True.
That's true.
So they don't get their license. Too bad, so sad. Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't
Isn't that
that
easy, right?
Right. So again, more about the S. What's important to me about the S? We get it. We get what we're talking about. Again, we're coming back to that biggest fear, change. Biggest fear is change. And that brings me back to that comment that, you know, we're taking people through the biggest change of their life. You've got to be respectful, and you've got to understand who they are and how they can make their way through this process. And if you are successful at this and you get an A+ report card, that turns into repeat and referral business. They will find you. They will find you. Can you connect at the right level? Not on who you are, but who they are. So what's some great NLP language that goes with an S? What does an S love to hear?
Well, I mean, I know what I would feed in an S would be something along the lines of like, don't worry, I have someone to handle everything for you.
Make them feel.
So like, I have an organizer, I have a stager, I have cleaners, I have everyone on call, I literally have everything handled. You need it, I have it.
Yeah, you're the go-to person.
Or also,
Have them have
I wouldn't put you anywhere that I wouldn't live.
Yes, good one. Really good. That makes someone feel safe, doesn't it?
Like, if I won't live in it, I won't sell it to you.
Right. Or if I hadn't hired a painter myself, I wouldn't recommend them to you.
Yeah.
Right? That's a good one. That just makes them feel safe, because these are careful processing people.
Yeah.
Some of the terminology that goes along with this is we're in this together. We are in this together. Make sense?
Yeah.
If you have an S component to you, what I just said resonated with you, right? When I go to do a price reduction at the home of an S, I say, we need to think about reducing the price. We need to change this price. We're in this together. We got to do this. Do I say that to a D?
No.
No. Do I say that to an I? Yes, I say that, and then I say, and we're going out for a glass of wine after. How's that sound? We're like all over it.
And I bought a bottle of scotch.
Is there any other shortcomings that we want to talk about? The biggest one is, and it's not really a shortcoming, but that hiding the emotions, be really careful with that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and they're probably not very spontaneous either.
Oh, thank you for mentioning that. So here's the thing. It's Thursday today. If I said to a D, yo, let's go to Florida for the weekend, what would the D say?
Here's my schedule.
I'm working. Let me check my schedule, my people will get back to you. Yeah, let's go, but I'm organizing it. Yeah, I'm in charge. Yeah, what would an I say?
Sure.
Woo!
And then like, oh wait, I have a wedding and a bar mitzvah and this again.
Yeah, I'll see if I can fit it in. Yes, I can be ready in half an hour, right? What would the yes
That is
say?
something.
Oh, hold on a second, let me just hold up on that, I gotta process that for just a minute, I gotta do some planning.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all the laundry
Maybe
done,
end of
it's
the year,
ready to
how long
go.
does it take?
And that's not a bad thing, it's just who they are, none of this is bad, it's just who they are. So if you understand this personality style, don't expect them, don't go to an S and say, oh my God, look, I could get some fights for us tomorrow, because you're gonna get what? Resistance, and you're gonna get this and lack of this, right? Does that make sense? So true.
I always thought, so I have a 16-year-old and
Oh.
teenagers are like, probably have a lot of D just because they're teenagers. And I always thought he was, because I've done, high level, knew a little bit about this. And I'm an I, and I'm just realizing now, like, he's an S, like straight up. And so, like, I'm a multitasker. And I'm gonna like change things around to make something fit. And he's like, I just need to know what we're doing tomorrow. I'm like, tomorrow, I'm talking about like, we gotta figure out tonight kind of thing, right? And so there's just such a disconnect.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's just
That's a
powerful.
key word here, is disconnect. And you know, whether it be anyone in your life, when they've disconnected with you, you haven't read them well.
Mhm.
Truth, bottom line, well said. Interesting, right? Don't you wish you could go back and start parenting 101? Not happening.
My
30 and 30.
Those people are generally
Yeah, great question. Is an S very outgoing?
I would say introvert.
An S appears to be somewhat of an introvert until you get to know them. And then they love you because you accept them. Acceptance is a big deal here. And that's why I've got the I and the S on this side. Because these people care that they're accepted. You might add that into the notes, I'm tired of writing. Over here, they don't care. They don't care. They don't care, right? These people care about being accepted. But they have to weather the waters first to find out if you're gonna accept them. And then, look out. When an S gets to know you, they're all over you. And again, where we're talking about the cool versus fast or slow. So these people are very warm and fuzzy, and a bit slower. Why? Slower, not in a bad way, but just because they got a process. So be respectful of that. Keep their, and fear of change is the other thing. Fear of change. Great. We're realtors taking them through massive change. Are you patient with all your S's is my question to you. You know what? We can all stand to learn, right? Yeah, don't you love this? I could chat for hours on this. But
I have a
we don't-
question about
Yes.
the S's. So for communication, I imagine
Yes.
they probably don't like to be reached out to a lot. They probably, like too much, they can get overwhelmed.
How do you think you communicate best for them, not you, with an S?
Person to person.
Based on all this, I would say
Body language?
text them.
Oh, text
So they can
them.
process what you
Yes.
say.
Okay.
Because if you call them, there's that, ooh, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, I need to process that. So text them, keep it fairly short and sweet. And say, here's the best thing you can do. Say, I'm gonna call you in about half an hour. Can you just give them a beautiful heads up? So now you're gonna mix the heads up to process with some communication of the warm and fuzzy with a hot. Does that make sense? If you're an S, would you like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My question about text and email though is, because it has no tone, it can be interpreted different ways. So
Correct.
could S be too sensitive and would then read your email the wrong
good
way?
question.
I have done this. I've texted people so they can process. But if I feel that the text is becoming misconstrued in terms of
You
its
pick up the phone.
right.
Yeah.
But be aware, like that's what we're doing here. We're going from E to P. That's a real big Keller Williams. They call this the badge of awareness, right? And that's exactly what it is, being very, very aware. This will take your business to another level, trust me. That's what we all want for you. Have we talked enough about the S? Anybody got anything to add on?
They seem pretty simple.
It is simple.
Because the S's, because I've written the very least about the S's than I have about everyone else.
And yet, I would say that the S's require the most care.
Yeah.
They are the most sensitive. They need to be cared for. And here's a crazy story. I don't know why this happens to me, because I'm on the IS side. Everyone in my life seems to be a D. What's up with that? I asked a D that one time, and I said, why do I have so many Ds around me, including you? And she said, because this personality style completes this person. These people are what these people want to be. Can you relate to that? Wow, I said that really well. But seriously, think about that. But it's true. It's true, isn't it? Except this relationship is harder on these people than it is on this person. These people do the adjusting, right? Unless you're really, really good at that. I feel like my entire life was in preparation for the man that's in my life now. OMG. Screaming high D. Love it. Bring it on.
And what are you?
IS.
You're IS?
Yeah, I'm on the IS.
Are you even IS though?
Here's the thing, I have IS and a lot of C in me, which we'll get to in a minute. And an I and a C and an S together can be a D.
Can an S and a D be together?
Can a D and a D be together?
No, an S and a D.
They often are, because
Okay.
opposites attract. And yes, they definitely, a D
But with more-
intuitively
but with more
chooses this
issues.
person.
I'm applying this to my personal life.
Yes, you are.
I know you are. Because we all so obvious.
Yeah, that's kind of a really big deal.
Yeah.
And yes, they can be together, but this person has to be really well educated. A friend of mine who also teaches this says, the man in your life has no idea what he's got himself into, because you're soft and sweet, but oh my God, you know, you've got his number, and it's perfect, it's working. That's my little A+ report card. If you can
But is there not tension between those?
There
More
definitely is,
tension.
because when you put a D and an S together,
Yeah.
this person is judging this person all the time. They're not speaking up, right? They're just a little on the sensitive side when this is a hard ass, let's be honest. Sometimes, not all the time. But honestly, there's a part of this person that totally admires this personality style. And if you win the respect of this person, gold. Gold. Because why? Because you're somebody who doesn't make them feel taken advantage of, because that's the way they feel by most of the world. Therefore, you make them feel safe, and then they trust you. And if a D trusts you, you're gold. True. True, true, true. Do you agree with that? Yeah. Oh my God, everybody's
Thank you, I don't need to go to marital counseling.
No! No,
charge
just
for that,
do,
please.
hey, by the way, read the book. I should charge for this. No, it's true. I do a lot of counseling with people, and this is what it all boils down to. I mean, this is Keller Williams feeding this good information, which I think is, if you get this, you don't need anything else. It's true. So I'm just gonna say, there's 2 amazing books that I'm gonna recommend to you. Of course, you know the 5 love languages.
Of course, yeah.
Brilliant. It's all based on the same psychology. There's the 5 love languages for the workplace now, which is helpful.
Very helpful.
But another book, here's the thing. When it comes to all of these personality styles, and I'll go through the C in a minute, you are wise to not tell. A D tells a lot. I's and S's like to ask questions. The C's, which I'll get to in a minute, and the D's, they like to tell, because they are super smart and they know everything, right? 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 But if you can be the person that asks a lot of questions and helps people come up with their own solutions, which is what a great coach does. If any of you have MAPS coaches in here, man, oh man, that's how these people learn, and you didn't tell them. You helped them arrive at the answer. A great coach, when you tell them everything going on with you, they already know the solution. Do they tell you? No. A great coach asks you questions to help you get it on your own. That's the quality of a coach. KW has a ton of those coaches. They're very well trained, really, really good. And at the end of the day, that's where the respect comes from. And a great book that a coach provided me with years ago is called The 7 Powers of Questions. You can get it on Amazon. Great book. You could use this with your clients and you will be so impressed. The 7 Powers of Questions. Great, great, great book. Teaches you how to ask questions. And we were all little kids. What did we all do? We always asked a million questions, right? And even now, we don't ask questions as much. Should we be? Yes, we should be. What does the doctor do? What does the lawyer do? What do the professionals do when you go to them? They just nonstop ask you questions. Are you doing that with your clients? Right? Are you helping people come to decisions in their life as a consultant realtor?
7 times.
Sorry. Great book. Great book. In fact, here's the challenge. Just really quickly, I know I'm running out of time, I could talk about this forever, but I had a coach in Kelly Williams as the TL. And I would talk to him for half an hour and I'd get off the phone and I was buzzing. And the OP would say to me, what is wrong with you? And I'd say, oh my God, I'm just buzzing. Every time he went to say something, he would stop and turn it into a question. You could hear him stop, think, and turn it into a question. And what happens when someone asks you a question? You have to answer it, which means you have to think. And I would get off the phone and I'm like, oh, wouldn't you like to be that for your clients, for your family, for your significant other? So stop telling, and if you do, and answer and ask questions. Turn things into a question. You can play with that. There's a great challenge for everyone. It makes a difference in your communication. So when this D starts telling, I stop and I go, let me ask you a question. Pause, right? Think, right? Every email and text that I send out, it always ends in a question. Sound good? Question mark? Make sense? Question mark? That's how you get replies. If you're not getting replies to your emails, end it with a question. Right? Little things like that. Okay, you get me all distracted now. Let's do this C. And then, I'll make sure that we're good. Okay, so let's talk about the C. The C actually stands for compliance. So basically, bottom line, the C's are rule followers. They do not go outside of what's required. These people follow rules, okay? So that's what I mean by compliant. So my accountant is a C, right? He's pretty low-key. He's kind of a cooler personality style, a little bit slower, because he's always processing. Engineers are like this, data driven, right? Very cool thinkers, right? And same here. The S is a real thinking, right? Percolating, right? Thinkers and processors as well. And the other thing that C's are is planners. Same, but similar to an S, but more intense than an S, right? So good luck to you if you have two clients that are married and they're both engineers. Ever been in that situation? Great, you're working with two C's. Again, how do you work with these people? You already have a sense from everything that we've gone through. What? You got it. They're data driven. These are real research people. So data driven, similar to a D. Make sure you've got your data, make sure you talk data, make sure it's short and sweet, quick and to the point, and keep the emotion low and the data high. Does that make sense? Speak the language, right, that they need to hear, because that's who they are, because that's how you keep their attention. The biggest fear, I can tell you, of a C is criticism. It's a big deal with a C. Criticism. Why? Because these people put a lot of thought into what they say and back it up with research before they open their mouth and talk to anyone. It's a pleasure to have a presentation done by a C. However, who is any one of us to criticize them? They put a lot of thought and effort into what they said before they say it, and when they get criticized, they're like, oh, it bites. So be careful of that, right? The best thing you can say in terms of NLP language to a C is what? What do you think? I hear you. I hear you. I respect you. I respect what you say. Right? Because that resonates with them. I hear you.
You probably dread dinner parties.
Right.
Unless it's with a bunch of other C's.
Unless it's with a bunch of other C's, then they're all happy with each other. So,
No, in silence.
so what do you think? Is this making sense to you all? Is this helpful in your life? Is it helpful in your business? All right. So just before we do some ahas to end this all off, who wants to come up here and demo with me how we do the disc hug? Let's just play with that. How do we want to do that? Let's okay, let's have somebody come up here and we'll educate each other on how we do that. Of course the TL does that, of course. She's a screaming aye. All right. So we're two Ds that just ran into each other. Okay.
Shake hands.
Let's analyze this. What was that?
Get ready. Or my hands.
You don't even hug, you just shake your hands.
So what do you think? What do you think we should do? Let's analyze this real quick.
For Ds?
Yeah.
You made noise.
Yes, that's right. Hey, yeah.
All right.
Hey, nice to see you. Yeah, let's get on with it. Let's go.
Yep.
Don't move in too much.
It's not
Yeah,
really,
right.
yeah. You move in
Try
too
not to
much,
be
it's like, it get away from me, right?
Yeah.
Right? So that's
My
respectful,
personal
keeping a
space.
distance. Okay, two eyes just run
Hug
into
and
each
kiss.
other.
Hug and kiss. You might run into
You're really good at
Oh my God,
I'm
so
not.
funny. Okay, two S's. Two S's.
a regular hug, probably.
Hey.
Aww, so
Oh,
nice
really?
to see you.
Oh, all right.
It's been so long. Oh my God, can I make you some tea? Oh my God. Yeah, it's so good to see you. Oh my gosh, yeah. How's the kids? Right, does that make sense? Right? And how about two C's?
I would have thought S's wouldn't have been as physical.
Yeah, yeah,
They are?
they are.
Okay.
They're physical. Once they get to know you.
Would a
right?
C be like a
They're physical,
tapper?
quiet, or
Or are they hugging
A little less. Tone it down from here.
No, like
Tone down.
Subdued.
Oh,
right?
like a pat on the back,
Yeah.
like when you hug and pat, would the C be
Very
like
good.
big hug and pat kind of
It's
thing?
true, the S's,
Oh, the S's do.
yeah, and so do the I's, but less. These people do it more, because it's a compassionate thing. These people are much more compassionate.
Mhm.
Okay, two C's. What do you think?
Pause and think about how you're gonna hug.
Sorry, they might stand there.
Literally like the awkward, like.
It's awkward, yeah, it's
Awkward.
kind of funny.
Like,
It's
do I do
awkward.
this, do I do
Yeah.
this?
Hey, it's a handshake, right? It's a handshake. Hey, great to meet you.
Hi.
Yeah.
Or
You
maybe
probably
it's
got a
maybe
lot of
handshake.
data that you want to share. Let's just get on with it.
Data.
Yeah, let's- Okay. Any thoughts on that? What do you think? Does that make sense?
Sounds good. Bravo.
And if you're a C, here's, I remember someone said this to me, if you're a C and your client's an I, and they do this, you just have to sit there and take it, right? You cannot like back away.
You mean if I'm a C and you're the I?
If I'm, yeah,
Yeah.
if the agent's, yeah, if you're the C and I'm the I and I hug you, you just have to like smile and
Because
take
the
it, right?
D's not gonna burst out of
I
that.
feel
But what's the D gonna do?
I'd be like, backing away.
Yeah, back away.
Pull out their
The
switchblade.
D would probably make eye contact and the C wouldn't in a handshake.
Yes, yes, true that.
The C would be like look down,
C
and D would
would
be
make a
like
little
very
less eye
direct.
contact because they're very introverted.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. They have many, many strengths. Yes, interesting.
So who is the long lingering handshake where you just have to pull your hand away?
I
Eyes.
try
Talking to you, how's it going? They're asking 1,000 questions.
Yeah.
Shaking their head.
In your space, perhaps more than, yeah. And these people can be too, believe it or not, because they feel they have the right, the dominant, to just, take care of your space, right? So keep in mind, now's your job to kind of figure out who you are, right? And which two are the most dominant in you. The best way is to go through a disc profile and you will see what your natural abilities are. You'll see it. But more importantly, have the significant others in your life do the same thing and see what their two dominants are. Because those are the things that are important to them. I said
Does anybody ever end up having two very high, I didn't do it, right? So that
Sure.
two very high I,
Sure.
high D, yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
So wouldn't any of those kind of be contradictory?
Not contradictory, there's always one that surpasses the other,
Okay.
even by a micro
Okay.
measurement. There's
Are you
always
able
one.
to ever
Okay.
change?
Great question. Does the disc change?
Like, could you change
Absolutely.
I
personality?
know, so.
Life events, I think, change your disc. Like if you've been divorced or having children or massive job responsibility change. When I went from an agent, really successful agent, to a team leader, everything changed in my disc. Why? Because yes, you're a team lead in your business, but it's different being a TL. Man, you are held hugely accountable for the work that you do. Not an easy job, right? So everything changes in the way that you think. If you weren't already a high D, you move to that. So yes, your disc can change in your lifetime.
Now, is it your disc changing or is it you just becoming more adaptable?
More adaptable.
You know what? It's interesting. You do adapt to your environment, right? And here's the thing. Sometimes people will wear a mask. The disc calls it a mask. So, if you're naturally an IS and your job requires that you be a D, number one, you're not necessarily a great match to it, right? But you can be a D, but you can only be a D for so long, and then you will default back to being who you really are. And yes, your disc can change, and you will be who you need to be for a certain amount of time. But then you will default back to who you are.
Like us as realtors, anybody who we're seeing in this circle of disc, we will adapt to them for the most part,
Yep,
to try
you
and,
go home and be yourself.
yes.
Right. That's
You
why
adapt while you're at
realtors
work.
get worn out, burned out, and they need time away. Why? Because they're so busy adapting to being who they need to be for everyone. That's what salespeople do. You need downtime to recharge your batteries. That's what that really means. Interesting. Anyways, any ahas anybody want to share before you leave me? It's right on 3 o'clock. No, it's actually a minute after. How do they do? Good timing? So some thoughts before you leave? Don't tell me you're gonna get divorced. Although that has happened. Does it make you feel?
I just said
I already know it's D.
There you go.
Yeah.
See?
I have a question. If you're a high ID, you're probably a nightmare, right?
Why do you
A
think it's
DI or an ID?
I'm an I, so I'm 98 I and I'm like 55 D, but then the other two I'm like 30. Like I'm not at all.
So those are the things that are not dominating you. Yeah, and I can tell from your mannerisms.
Yeah. I'm
Decisive,
self-aware, I know this.
And we love self-aware, that's brilliant. That's what we try and aim for everyone to be at KW, because this is a coaching and training company. Love, love, love it. Be your best you, right? So what did you ask me?
Am I a nightmare? Yeah. Am I a nightmare?
Which one is
So let me
that?
ask you a question.
That's how you can do this.
If you needed to talk to somebody and have a really important decision
Talk to
made, would you go
myself.
see this lady?
Sure.
Sure you would. That's a blessing. Thank you for being in the room. I love it. You get that right away, right? Which is a good thing. Okay, guys, thank you for
Thanks for
coming.
coming.